and welcome to the show that we have. You can guess what it's called, but I'll tell you. The table is yours. Hello, and welcome to that. I am a person. You probably are a person if you're watching, unless you're a robot. Did you do your CAPTCHA today? My name's Con Riley. I'm your GM DM best friend. I've made a very confusing intro, but I have a fun fact for you. My favorite CAPTCHA is when it asks me the motorcycle ones, because when I do the CAPTCHAs, I make sure I hit every, like, even if part of the handle's on one of the other blocks, I make sure, yeah, that's my favorite CAPTCHA. I'm not a robot, I swear. Let's go to our real friends, starting with Vic Schmidt.
Hi, I'm Vic. I play resident rap boy Terrence Estates. My pronouns are they, them. Terrence's pronouns are he, they. My favorite CAPTCHA is the letters that you can't really read and you have to try and figure it out. And I always had a really hard time and it was make me upset.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I play Wash, pronouns he, him. I'm no longer in the Sahara. I'm spelunking in underwater caves. I wouldn't say favorite, but apparently I might be a robot because those fucking AI-generated images of, like, click on the billboards. It shows a goddamn New York City block, and everything's a billboard. And I spent 30 fucking minutes just going back to back of those images, and it's like, you're a robot, you're a robot.
Hey everybody, I'm Heather Lore. I play Shay Erebos. You can find me on Instagram at Land of Lore. And my favorite CAPTCHA is really dumb because it's literally just the one that you click a box that says, "Are you a robot?" And you click it to say no. I'm like, what sort of security level is this?
Anyway, hi, I'm Sydney. I play Codex Story, Rune Knight Fighter, Wild Magic Sorcerer, all around good she-her. As far as CAPTCHA goes, I'm full of rage because of AI image generation in CAPTCHAs, but if I had to pick a favorite interaction one, it would probably be the one that's like the puzzle piece that you just have to drag across the screen and drop it in.
Yeah!
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I play Isabella Ballador, Tiefling Paladin Bard of the group. We both use she, her pronouns, and my fun fact is that I've never lost a CAPTCHA.
Sounds like something a robot would say.
I'm not a robot. Why would I have a favorite?
Hi, I'm Jake. I play Finley de Galilei. He's a fearful druid. I am a man who happens to be stuffed inside this olive. Help me out. My favorite CAPTCHA is also similarly the puzzle one, because a lot of, like, gacha games use that as, like, how you log into your account. But my favorite thing about those is that it tells you you're better than 97% of people.
And of course, as you know, you can follow us anywhere at TTIYDND on all social media. We have you on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then anywhere you find podcasts. And then, of course, support our Patreon. It helps support us, the people here on the screens that you see, or are hearing it, or imagining through a screen that you're now listening to through your ears, and we could probably come through your ears. But yeah, with that, if there are no CAPTCHAs, questions, or check marks, let us get into the recap of what happened last episode on the table.
What story shall be sung today? One can never know how the melody might sound. Our adventurers have already begun to pluck the strings of their story, and their combined composition is unfolding like a road before us.
So, Felix he went to rest when we got back to the castle, which makes sense. And in the meantime, Finley went to Shay and explained his convo with Cinnamon about the ritual his mom did a while ago, and he was like, Shay, your mom was probably involved in the OG group, and Shay was like, okay, Slay, the next time we're in Dosham Moor, I'll help you try the ritual. Terrence called Ezra on his earring and was like, yo, here's everything that happened, also be careful using sending stones because Big Orathia is listening. Then, while we were eating dinner that night, the DeMartis waltzed in from the Russet Waste and were like, let's get this Onyx Obscurity situation moving so we can get that other diamond. We left the other one in the Russet Waste for safekeeping in the meantime. Fast forward a week, Finley updated the DeMartis on everything, so they were in the know. He learned about Levette, Balthazar's past now dead wife, who was like some aunt to King Gil or something, and the 7 Grand Septim Guilds didn't like her or something, so they offed her, but she was like a paladin of Big Sun Dad. And Orathia knew this and was like, hey Balthazar, now that she's dead, don't you just want to go fucking crazy? And he was like, yes, and then became evil for a while or whatever. And he did all this stuff to try to wish her back, but the wish got fucked up because of Salmex, so instead Balthi just got Levette's powers for some reason. All of this to say Balthazar was down to be the divine role for Finley's ritual. Issa called her parents and was like, we gotta meet with the pontiff because she's technically more powerful than the king, and we need them on our side so we can maybe get their help or someone else's help in taking on Salmex and the girlies. I finally wanted to figure out how Seraphim's gauntlet actually worked. Balthazar was like, 2 heads are better than 1, and I was like, okay, and so we did some weird shit with it and figured out how to possibly use it to separate Orathia from Kessex so she wasn't boosted off the power of a god when we ended up fighting her. By the end of the week, we were told the best course of action was kind of just like kicking in the front doors of the Onyx Obscurity and playing Orathia's weird game, and Maud was like, there's this maze in this diamond room we gotta find, and along the way we need blood, so we got this. So anyway, cut to us walking into the Onyx Obscurity and seeing Orathia chatting with Salmix and the sisters, and was basically like, hey, bye, kiddos, and they dipped, and then she turned to us and was like, here's this big speech, and was like, Kessak, give them the death suck, and Finley was like, wait, what if we played a game instead, and we gamble something you want? And she was like, that is so much more fun, yes, let's do it, cowboy. And then the floor dropped out from beneath us and we fell into the depths.
Alright, as you all fall, you will be split up. So, Finley, as you fall, a couple minutes later, you'll be like, huh, as you're just like in this like low-lit, almost backrooms-looking-esque yellow stoned wall. But it's yellow stone wall, labyrinth.
Is the carpet damp?
No, there's no carpet, but it's just stone. But labyrinthian almost hallway, as you wait there for a couple minutes, Issa will fall next to you on her ass. You probably also fell on your own ass. Codex, you are with Shay and Maud. As Shay falls, and Maud will fall after that. And then I don't have to roll for the rest of them, but it's Terrence, Wash, and Sham. Obviously, you will also have your familiar with you, so Issa and Finley have Cinnamon, and then Sham, Wash, and Terrence have V2. Same thing, you're all presented with this like the same labyrinthian hall of like this damp yellow color. It's like this gross sanguineous yellow color on the walls, and just like regular gray stone beneath you. It looks like a long hallway, you can go down either way.
I was kind of anticipating the dungeon looking a little more like the upstairs. I don't know about the yellow as a design choice.
Yeah, this is weird. So, that way or that way? Sean will just point and shrug.
Wash says that way without...
But which one?
Yeah.
Terrence will point.
Codex, Shay, and Maud.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey. Together.
Yeah, that's good. This place is
gross.
Yellow.
It is. It's far nicer upstairs. I don't like this bit.
Yeah.
I sort of remember this. This is all vaguely familiar. For now, let's just go... She'll, put her hands in this way.
After you.
Alright, Finley and Issa.
Alright, no one else. Okay, who all was up here when you went?
I was last.
Alright, so no more people. Alright. Is it kind of right. Need points that way or that way?
Right.
Let's go. And he just walks.
Yeah, she follows.
What do you remember of this before, Maud? Are there going to be creatures? Are there going to be tests? Are we going to suddenly have the floor disappear again?
I remember some things. I remember that there are ooblexes down here. Ones that can,
what?
Large gelatinous things that can consume memories and such.
Lovely.
Yes.
Cool.
It was in one of these hallways that we were last before we were out of the Onyx Obscurity. So I'll try to keep... I remember there was this copper trim that was around some of the stones that led to the antechamber, whatever you call it, the center area where we found the diamond. There was... If you ever see stones with copper trimming around it on the floor, we're getting close.
Excellent. We'll keep an eye out then.
Also, be on the lookout for a wall with strange holes on them. I can't remember what shape they were, but I just remember... It's fragmented, the memory, but I remember there were walls. There was a wall with holes in them. And I can't remember the shape. But
why do we need to look out for this wall with the holes? Do things come out? Does it suck us in? Are we going to be stabbed through these holes?
I can't remember.
Holes just seem bad in general.
Yeah, avoid
in a setting like this.
Avoid all holes.
Okay.
Does anybody have any way that we can maybe guide us to where our friends might be, or where our other taken friends might be, or where... Didn't you guys use a wish to make somebody be able to look at diamonds?
Yes, that was Cinnamon.
Why you think we're going to go over to group 3?
You can say whatever you want, right?
It's kind of... I feel like we should just focus, on the...
Sure.
Do you have something to say? Why don't you say what's on your mind?
As Cinnamon's slowly walking a direction and kind of going... And he's just going to turn and walk backwards and just go... Fire away. And then turn back around.
I didn't like your lecture.
Didn't say it because you'd like it. Said it because I meant it.
I know you did.
What part stuck out to you?
I don't know if you're gonna like what I have to say.
Speak your truth, Isabella.
I don't know why. When we got back, half of us had almost just died, and then you came downstairs, and then you said it all, and then you left. Why'd you leave?
To give you all space and time to think about it on your own.
I didn't need space and time. I feel like you left because you're a coward, and you didn't want to hear what we had to say.
So the part about you can come to me with your feelings whenever you want didn't really cross into you, huh?
No.
Nor did it seem like the rest of it.
You lost your whole family. I can't imagine what that's like, but it doesn't give you the right. We all lost different things in our lives.
But do you keep going forward? Or do you let that grief, that loss, those things affect how you treat other people? Because I think it goes into the other things that I said, if you want to segue into those, which is, said that whole thing, looked at all of you, the first chance to prove me wrong, and I'm proven right. Maud is a friend, an ally. Where's trust?
Listen. And as some of us discussed after your lecture, but you weren't there, remember, because you left.
Oh my god, I left? Oh my god, Issa, thank you for reminding me. Yet again.
Yeah, and I'll keep reminding you.
No, I think I'm conscious of it.
Yeah? Well, as some of us discussed, we have been burned so many times.
You know, and he kind of like stops and just turns. The point of this whole thing is we are in a position. Things are going to get thrown at you. Things are going to suck. You're going to get betrayed. You're going to get hurt. You're going to take a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm jaded. In case you want to go back to another point in your thing.
If you want to be jaded and dejected and let your hurt other people, stay the fuck home.
I am not letting my hurt other people.
Then stop hurting other people.
Who am I hurting?
Connie asked you one thing.
Yeah.
And you said no.
I did say no.
So not only, obviously, hurts Connie.
She's dead.
Right.
Right?
He kind of like looks dumbfounded. And just kind of like, shakes it off a little bit. And that goes into Ezra.
Issa rolls her eyes. What about him?
Who told me what you said to him?
I didn't say a lot to him. He kind of just yelled at me.
I mean, I feel like anybody would yell at someone who said,
basically, I know your sibling more than you do.
Because Ezra, to me, also was like, I don't know if he's a super reliable narrator.
Well, I think with the thing that you just said, I've seen you straight on, so I'm going to believe that. And he's going to turn around and walk closer to Cinnamon.
Finley, I've known you for 2 months? You don't know me at all. You don't know me at all. Stop pretending that you do, because you left for a year and a half.
I needed time, because I'm not sure if you know this, but, and he kind of holds his hand out and just druid crafts. All magic is visible unless you subtle spell it.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
So you can see what whole person looks like on a target.
And you still ran into her sword.
This is how you want to spin it. This is your narrative. This is Issa's world. This is Issa land.
Maybe when I'm old and wise like you, Finley, maybe if I make it to 60-something, because I'm still a kid, if you remember. I'm 22 now. I'm just a kid.
Remind me, you reach adulthood the same time that humans do, correct?
Yeah.
Time to own your mistakes. If you want to talk about age, Terrence isn't that far away from you. Terrence has a great ability to own up to anything he's ever done.
Well, yeah, Terrence is a better person than me.
Scratching his forehead. I don't know. Maybe there is no goal where we see things the same way. But I'm going to be nice on the way.
I'm nice to the people who deserve it, Finley.
But who are you to decide who deserves it? Just a mean girl. He's going to use Hidden Step which allows him and Cinnamon both to turn completely invisible to the eye, and he's going to say, you can either work together, or you can find your own fucking way. But I'm not going to walk around with a mean girl who walks upon the world with her name.
With that, everyone else's walk was uneventful until each of you come upon a dead end in this labyrinthian maze. And what they lead to seem to be this wall that have very eerily looking cutouts, holes in them, that seem to be in the shape of you. And there's one for each of you. Shay, Wash, Terrence, Finley, Issa, Codex, Maud, and Chom. Cinnamon, and even V2. As you all go into your designed holes, it gets very tight. Because it's like the stone is right. It's weird that it's like the stone... Jacob... This is very Enigma of Amigara fault, Junji Ito style. But as you all kind of like shimmy your way through for what seems like 5 minutes, it's bad. Eventually, you will come to a room, each of you. And this room is a small square room. When you look behind, you'll watch as like it's almost like the hole on the other side will just fade away and it's just stone. As you're in a small square room that looks almost like an interrogation room. And what I mean by that is there is a single table, a single chair from where you walk in, a chair on the other side, and a door behind that chair opposite you.
A single light bulb hanging on a string, kind of swinging a little bit.
Batman takes your head and goes, boom, where are the drugs going? Shay, you just hear, please sit.
Shay does. Are we going to have a chat?
Sure. She'll walk in and sit across from you. What do you want to chat about?
Who are you, really, Orathia?
I'm just a citizen of the burg. The girl next door.
Yes, I actually did see you at your inauguration when you first became a bull. It's a while ago. You were very ambitious even then.
I'd blush if I didn't already think you would compliment me on things. I knew you'd compliment me, you whore.
Where does all of your knowledge and power come from?
Well, the Onyx Obscurity has been a place for a very long time that has had eyes all around the burg and Zabraria. And let's just say I took it upon myself to go a little further with steps than my father ever did.
Like what?
There has been many a tome hidden away in the Onyx Obscurity of how to revive the dead and get any unanswered questions, like from terrorists, warmongers, or other types of villains to the place. But I thought there was other ways of using it, so... And then it was only just ever increased in usage once I had the power of Kassak, the Shadowed Fear.
Yes, that was a very good gift, wasn't it?
Only wish I've ever made.
Why is that?
Wanted to see what would happen.
And you gained all the knowledge and skill of him just from that one wish that you're like, don't need anything else now, let's just watch the pawns play.
In a sense. Aren't you kind of similar, though? And she kind of, you watch as she, kind of almost puts, a Jenga tower in front of you.
Nice.
Aren't you the type that would just... And she just kind of, pushes one of the blocks at the bottom. And you watch as the block she starts to push comes through. It looks almost like they turn into people. And the people all look like people you've seen before. Friends of yours from the Needles, the Fated Fates, the Nami, Karis, and Ellen that you met in the first session. Cornelia, Seraphima. And you watch as she pushes one, and it looks like it's Hal that she pushes through, and it falls as the rest of them all just fall cluttering in front of you. When you blink, you blink, and they're back to blocks. You can't tell me you don't think of people as pawns as well. You use people, Shay. It's fun.
You're right, Orathia. You and I are very similar. In many, many ways. But the way I use people is not as playthings.
Maybe not yet. I like knowing how people tick. Everybody in their own right is a game of themselves. How do their games work? What are the rules? What are the instructions? What makes you work like a clock? If you had to choose out of your... She air quotes, friends that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you could all get out, but one of you had to die, and it can't be you. And she kind of boops your nose.
Terrence.
Who would you,
No hesitation.
who would you choose?
Oh, Orathia, this sounds like a trap.
No, it's just a question.
V2, because he can be put back together.
One of the fated fates non-construct friends. Who would you choose? And you watch as she lays out like what look like voodoo dolls they just kind of appear of Issa, Finley, Wash, Terrence, and Codex. The door will open when you choose. And she walks out.
As she's walking, Shay's gonna be like, I'm not playing your game, Orathia.
Then stay in here. Starving is also a losing to the game. And she walks out. Alright, we're moving on. And then we're gonna go to Terrence.
I like to think there's like a split second where the voice says like, please sit down, and Terrence is so like freaked out he just like sits on the floor and then is like, wait, there's a chair, and then gets and kind of moves to the chair.
Can I go off and you tell me if it's too much, and we give each other grace for that?
Yes, you always can. You know that it's crazy.
Okay, you're a fucking raging I hate you. Get out of my podcast. No, is that good?
Vic starts crying.
You just hear behind you. You okay?
Perfect. Peachy. Great.
Why'd you choose the name Terrence?
You're a bitch. That catches him so off guard. I don't know. Sounded smart. I saw it in a book.
She'll like walk over and sit across from you. What does Terrence have that Cassandra didn't?
His like fingernails are like digging into his palm.
And identify how you identify. I'm curious.
I wouldn't choose it, but
I'm an ally.
You can do whatever you want, but like I personally don't agree with it. There's nothing that Terrence has that Cassandra didn't. That's the thing.
Well, there's one thing. And she snaps her fingers as the door opens, and a man walks in. It is a larger, muscular, heavy-set man with dirty blonde hair, probably actually in like a mullet style, wearing your same exact jacket.
Oh, so you're saying the one thing Terrence has is a dad? He went to get milk.
He is wearing that same jacket that is more form-fitted to him, which on you is much larger and like, it's like nice and cozy. But he sits down across from you and Orathia goes, I'll let you two catch up. And you watch as Orathia walks out of the room, the walls on either side of you, not the walls across. So she walks out the door disappears and she's gone. It's stone behind you, stone in front of you, or like behind Kylos, your father. On either side of you, the stone walls turn to mirrors as you see a young woman sitting across from your father.
Is she hot? I'm just kidding. Is she slutty? In all seriousness, his palm is probably bleeding, but he has his fingernails digging into his palm, and it starts to bleed a little bit, but like, hi. Do I know you? He never looks to his left or right to see the mirror. You don't even know if he sees them in his vision. No, you don't. That's my jacket. It is. Why the fuck do you have my jacket? You left it at home. With Estella. She's my mom. And you're my dad. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense. He puts one hand on your hand if you let him. And he holds on real tight. It hurts for a second, but you can tell from his face, he's in like pain from like, oh god, this man is hurt. Like this man is sad. And you watch as his brow just furrows before the grip seems to loosen as you watch him unravel like ribbons. Wait. And it just... Wait. And then you watch the door open and Orathia kind of come in with Kessak, and Kessak has basically a dustpan and broom and... Okay. I've thought of fun extra content for this game. You are an interesting type, right? What if? And you just watch as like appearing in her hand is like this like perfected version of the serum. Like it's like glowing, it has like shining around it. What if this was like the perfect version of the serum? But you shouldn't test on yourself, right? Because like we should definitely see like maybe like the rats before you watch as like from under her dress just a bunch of white mice just start crawling around the room and probably over you and they're like screeching and scritching. I say, and she like goes down and grabs a rat and she grabs a mouse and she puts it on the table
which one are you going to experiment on with this? You have to choose one. It can't be you. Now, unfortunately, the people that you're going to be testing it on are the people who have been most affected by this serum. She taps the fancy rat, and you just watch as in front of you on the table, carved under the fancy rat, says, Estella. The person you've hid this from the most, that you've probably hurt the most with this serum, even though she doesn't know too much about it. Or, and you watch as she taps the lab mouse, the albino mouse, and you see carved under it on the table, it says Isabella. Or the person who you've ruined the love of her life with because of this. Who will you choose to use this serum on? It could be the perfect serum. Or maybe it results in, and you watch as like all the rats around you that are still crawling around, or rats and mice that are crawling around you, they just like start exploding like they did before. So you choose. Which one? And she's going to walk out the room. You're taking the implication that she means which one would you choose as cannon fodder for testing, make sure this is right.
Okay. I know what choice I'm going to make. It's not my mom, sorry. Yeah, he'll just be like, I'm sorry, and he'll tap Issa's name.
And you'll watch as like the two rats will scutter off and the door opens. Finley. As you end up in the break room, Orathia will yet again open the door and sit down across from you and says, I want to make a choice to make this game a bit more interesting. And you watch as she puts down a box in front of you. You are supposed to be a healer, right? I do know a little bit about the Ignis Cal Druids, and in their days people would go to them when suffering, right?
Correct.
Okay. And watching a little bit of turmoil happening, I feel like I might know what choice you might make, but maybe not. You could surprise me. And I do love a good surprise. I would love if you chose, and she opens up the tiny, like, it's like a briefcase. It's like, I don't like that word because it sounds too, like, modern, but, like, it's like a small, like, small chest that she opens, and there are 7 name tags. And they have Isabella, Kodexamala, Shay, Felix, Terrence, Maud, and it has Melius. You guys already know this. You know Sean doesn't go by his first name. John is his middle name. When it says Maud, there are air quotes around it, because she's no fucking clue about Maud. This is like a healer's kit. And you look like the little name tags are actually on top of what look like bottles of health potions. Who do you think doesn't need your help healing? Choose the bottle. And then she's going to like close it back down and walk out. Oh, and she'll knock and open the door. Can't run away from this one. And then she'll shut the door.
So at this point, Finley's just like sitting alone in this room. So he's just gonna like look at all the names, and he's gonna grab Maud.
Issa, I will present you with options. Which do you think would you be able to better live with yourself? And you watch, she puts 2 books in front of you, and it says, they all kind of just say like, the lives and times and demises of, and the first one will say Guy, and the other will say Salvador and Elena Ballador. The book you choose will be the demise that isn't your fault. And then she walk out.
And then she grabs her parents' book.
Interesting.
And we'll leave.
Interesting. Fun. Okay, Wash now. So what makes you do what you do now? Do you have any real purpose for being here? Other than, you killed the Falso Ivory's leader. Your parents are both dead now. One because of you. Well, your friend that had you join this group in the first place is dead. I guess you have Codex. But why be here? Why does it matter to you? You don't seem like a person who has very strong sways either way.
Yeah, originally it was just so I didn't have to, hide. But a lot of it's spite, because you essentially took my parents, and I'd like to see your plans fail.
What do you mean I took your parents? I never touched your parents.
Then why were they playthings for your children?
What? Whoa! I don't know what you mean. Oh! They're not... This is a new, allyship. So whatever choices they made in their past with their allies prior, like Seraphim or Rousseau, who we can all admit was a raging cunt, are none of my discretions, or nothing that I ordered to be done. So all of your gripes when it comes to that, I never had any involvement in. Let's just say I've adopted them as of today.
Today. So why did you claim them?
Same reason I do anything, curiosity. I'd like to see what happens when the pin falls.
And you're not at all curious if we beat you?
Oh sure, I'm curious if you beat me. I wouldn't care if I wasn't curious. Kesek is the only thing that's keeping me at all an influence over the kiddos. Selmex, Aster, Hila, and Gazania.
Yep.
So, if I lose that, I know the only incantation to go unnoticed by them for 24 hours. I think it only works once. It was actually the Larakai. Over my sabbatical, I discovered that. I don't want to lose, but hey. It's not like I don't want to lose that bad. If I do, I learn something, right?
I feel like it'd be more interesting that way.
Maybe so. I'll leave you with this, Wash, because you, like some of your friends, like to have choices presented before you. Codex and I have spoken about potentially trying to see if there's a way to separate her from the Hexaleap. And since I don't have anybody to sign for liability, I'll just put it in front of you. If I were to test it on Codex or Dogma, and one of them did not survive, who would you choose? And could you live with that? And she'll put it in front of you in a quill to sign. And it's like one for Codex's life, for Dogma's life. Meaning to save. Like, Codex will live or Dogma will live. When Codex lives, the Dogma lives.
I'm not going to explain it. Wash is going to sign Dogma.
Codex. Same thing. You'll walk in your room, and Orathia will be like, blah, 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 blah. Choices. I want to make a choice. Ha, ha, ha. So fun. But I think this time I'm going to give you a choice that actually will happen immediately. You have always kind of been very interesting to me, Codex, ever since I met you on, your 10th birthday?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've done things before to, I can describe myself as you watch, her, wisp her hand and a pen appears in it, and she puts the pen on the table. I could see myself being described as a person who would push a pen off just to see where it goes. You know, I've done things hoping it would invoke fear, or hoping it would invoke disaster, hoping it would invoke conflict. But when I met you that day, and you asked me what I got for my birthday, and I told you about the poor demise of my father, I didn't say that trying to invoke any fear in you, but you just got scared. And and she kind of comes up to you and she touches your face, and she's like, I've always been interested in that.
The second she touches her face, her leg starts bouncing under the table.
And she'll take a seat and she'll kind of lean back in the seat. The thing I've noticed the most about you, Codex, there's a lot of times that you kind of have this aura about you that you feel like you're misplaced. It's like you want to still be that girl who was just a mail runner, but also this grand adventurer. But the two can't, and you watch as she forms two small Codex puppets in her hand, and she's like, the two can't, as she puts them together, they kind of there's one that's probably you now, and then there's you in your male uniform 2 years ago now?
Oh god, yeah.
As she says the two, you watch as there's almost this kind of bright magical blur as they kind of and she's like, the two can't, and you watch as she lets go, and they both explode out of each other, but rip at the seams as the cotton falls out. Be together. So I'll offer you this. Why don't you? Here. And you watch as she kind of forms two plates, and on one plate there's a black and white donut, and on the other plate it's a pink donut. You can either go back to being that normal girl and forget all of this. Go back to your regular life. Just running mail. Then you can be the normie you've always wanted to be. Or you can sacrifice that and know everything. And when I mean everything, I mean before you got split with your brother. But there's no going back after that. Now you are Codex the Adventurer. There is no normal thing about you. You can't relate to those who are under you at that point. You cannot be below the stair and at the top at the same time. You must choose. And she'll push the two donuts towards you.
So, wait, so you can just give me my memories? You've had them this whole time, so you know.
What do you think I did on my hiatus? Codex, you intrigue me more than anybody in this labyrinth right now.
That's a very cool compliment.
How old are you now?
27?
17 years. Why do you think I chose you to get the Dark Root Diamond? Something about you makes you tick, and I just love to watch. So, it's up to you. I can give you your out if you want to go back to being a normie. Take that. You'll forget everything, and you'll never remember. No one will ever be able to give you those memories back. All the trouble, all the death, the blood, the fights, all of it, gone. Or, you can have everything back.
Can I ask you a question before you do whatever it is you have to do when I have to eat a pastry?
She kind of like, sure.
You say you like want to push people and do things to see like what happens, but you only listed bad things. Have you ever pushed people to try and just see what good comes out of it?
A lot of good that happens in the city is because of me. A lot of bad that happens in the city is because of me. A lot of neutral things that happens in the city is because of me. If I was a pompous person, I would say I am Zabraria. But I don't think I am.
Whatever. And she's just gonna grab the donut that makes her remember everything and eat it.
She's just gonna become a normie and quit the campaign.
I grab the donut that makes me a normie, and I forget everything, and yeah. No, she grabs the one that makes her remember everything and just takes a bite out of it, and like just holds Orathia's gaze.
Might take a bit to set in.
I got time.
But your door's open. And then she's going to walk out. You will all kind of appear back in from just like a door, and then they will all shut. But there's the 10 of you. It is the 6 of you, Maud, Sham, Cinnamon, and V2.
She said everyone had to make choices. And
I also got a room with a choice. And I made one.
I did not get a room, said Maud. Sham's like, I did.
Did you have to make a choice as well, Sean?
Yeah, I'd rather not talk about it.
Fair enough.
I just have a question. I'm assuming everyone has made a choice of some kind at this point. Do we think that these choices are actually going to happen? Because mine is like, it was kind of like a hypothetical in a way. I don't know.
I'd say mine was as well. Wasn't very much of a ooh, but I think all choices have consequence in their own way.
Yeah, like I feel like it's going to come back to bite me, but I think that the choices are probably going to be exposed eventually, potentially to try and turn us against each other. I don't know how theoretical they are, but Terrence is going to walk over to Issa and just be like, listen, I had to make a choice in my room, and it involved the serum, and it involved giving it to someone, and it was either my mother or you, and I chose you. I couldn't do that to her. I don't know the consequences of this choice, or if it's real or hypothetical. I just wanted to tell you so you can be prepared. Don't drink anything strange.
I had to choose between the 7 of you all here. Who needs me, or who needs healing the least? And it tripped me up for the longest time because she said needs, and that's such a weird word. But in the end, ultimately, and he like looks over, I chose Maud.
Maud, like, her eyebrows go up and she'll probably, okay.
I don't think anybody that really needs me or to be healed by me, but if there's a consequence of my action, I would rather be prepared to be available. But to me, Maud is very capable, and
that's fair enough. I don't hold it against you.
We have a bunch of other people here who can kind of support, so we'll keep our eyes on you.
Exactly.
Sham will Sham's like tearing up, and he's probably like, my choice had to do with people who have lost family members. And I'm sorry, as he like looks at Terrence, Wash, Finley, and Shay. I chose my dad, I'm sorry. If I could bring one back.
I would have done the same.
We understand.
I think we all would have made the same choice. That's a choice you're allowed to be selfish with.
If he looks at Finley, Finley is crying.
Maud's like,
okay.
I never got a choice, so.
I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I can't either. Why didn't you have to make a choice? I don't know. says Maud. There's not much about me that people know. Charm's like, but I know things about you. I don't know.
What were your choices?
He'll just say who it affects.
Codex and Dogma.
Well, what was the question? It might do something. Might be cause
Pretty
for
much.
concern.
If I had to choose which one I'd save.
She asked me which deaths I didn't want to be at fault for, and I chose my parents.
I'm just kind of operating on the side of, like, they're all probably real because Orathia's crazy.
I'm just operating on the assumption they're all fake, and she's using them to fuck with us, because if...
I like that one too. Shay?
I think she's using it to find out about us and to intimidate us as best she can.
I think she might just be using this to try to break our connections with other people.
And our spirit. Shay, I think it's just you.
Well, it seems to me a lot of you got off relatively lucky, I think. Not to say that your choices weren't difficult to make. She wanted me to choose which one of you might not make it out of here. I'm hoping we never have to find out. But I'll tell you once we all make it out.
Well, the reason that I was, like, hoping we'd share is because then we prepare for the worst.
Why prepare for the worst so we can prepare for the best?
Can you just let me know if you pick me? Because Terrence kind of picked me to die already, so, like, if you also pick me to die, then, like, the votes are, like, really skewed. And it's not great.
I'm determined to make sure we all make it out of here.
Let's, like, go beat the shit out of Orathia.
As they're going, Shay's gonna, like, give a big side hug to Finley. As they're walking, you know, that, like, awkward, like, we're gonna hug but keep walking at the same time. Just, like, hold him for a second as they're going. Are you okay?
No. But, now's not really the place to sit with that, so we go forward or we walk backwards. But either way, we go that way.
Well, I would love to hear more when we have time.
Sure, I'd also just... Onyx Obscurity's been a lot of feelings for me today. Already. Wide variety of them. Don't know how many more hallway, hard conversations I'm willing to have today. I'm gonna kind of, like, look at everybody else and just be like, well, everyone else, how's everybody else doing?
Oh, like us?
I mean, this hasn't exactly been fun.
Yeah, this has been a challenge, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a challenge for sure, but I don't think it's anything that we can't handle. We're still moving forward, you know? As I've always said, the horrors persist, but as much as they do persist, we know that it's all Orathia controlling this. We know that she's the one making us feel this way, to some extent. She's pulling the strings.
It's what she likes to do.
We just have to channel that, you know? That this is her fucking with us. It's the only reason I think I can keep my head on my shoulders at all is because it's not out of our control, but it also is. But in a way that's like, it's out of our control, so we just have to go with it.
And I'm also worried about how much of this is actually tangibly real, or is it just all in our heads? Did anybody actually hear the things I said? Will anybody ever actually remember any of these things that we're experiencing? Is Loretta going to come out of this?
Terrence? No. All of you at the same time. Terrence, like, puts a hand on Finley's shoulder. I feel like these are a lot of what-ifs. The only way to know is to keep going. And I know that these are a lot of scary what-ifs, but the more you spiral, and I know a lot about spiraling, the worse it's gonna get. So he, like, squeezes, let's just get through this together, huh?
Yeah.
As you guys are all walking, Sham with Cinnamon in front, like, Cinnamon just kind of whacks, and, like, whatever the discussion is, he'll kind of just, like, shut it down. As he just points a wing in a way, and he starts heading down a hall. As you follow him for a little bit, it will come to a door at the end, and it does seem like in the grout area of the stone. Congratulations for you for knowing that. I used to go to Home Depot. Anyway, but...
I used to.
The grout between the stone is this kind of like metal. But you do see that as Cinnamon approaches this door. Sean's gonna like kind of like sidestep and just be like, oh, wait, should we discuss things before we go in?
No, I don't think so. I think we're good.
I think we should have some semblance of a game plan.
Wasn't the plan to fight and then Maud does something with the claw?
Do we have enough blood?
It's gonna have to be used in the fight, I'm assuming. before it gets passed on to you.
If there's an opportunity to get to Orathia and potentially kill her, and I'm still up and swinging, just take my blood. Just say the incantation, point at me, take the rest of it, and then when I wake up, I would like to fully kill her.
I mean, you can't really use first aid to put blood back in you.
I thought the plan wasn't to kill her.
We do have someone that wants to speak to her.
That's true. And we have the one goal in this fight that I'm not going to say out loud. I feel like you just wield it until we fill her up, you know?
Fill her up.
Cool. Do we need my brain anymore?
I don't think so.
Good on my brain? Okay, I'm gonna lose it. Terrence is gonna take 3 serums right now.
Codex has her like hand outstretched to like Terrence, like, hold on. And then her eyes kind of slide over to Shay, and she's like, this is your last chance to prep us for whatever's gonna happen.
It won't affect anything in that room. We're all going to get out of here.
Issa's like looking at Shay and is like, I do think it might impact what happens there because
I
Loretta
need
said
everyone
it
right
would.
here to drop the fuck out of this. I am telling you right now to stop. It will not affect anything in there. I am going to watch all of your backs, and I need all of you to continue doing everything you do to watch each other's backs like I know you do.
I trust you, says Maud.
He just salutes.
All of you, just be the people that I know you are. Fight the way I know you do. Be who you are. We have had each other's backs this entire time, and I am trusting all of you to continue doing that.
Okay. I just wanted to one last chance.
By that point, Sean will sidestep away from the mage hand cat, presses at the front of the door and just kind of whoop as it swings forward. So, when you walk in this room, it is basically like this large, almost in a way, amphitheater? That's not the right word. It's more of like the best way I can describe it is like,
Arena?
you know, like in the 1800s in Victorian time, because we were all there, you know how they had like the open, one of those big like lecture halls where they had like, there was like all these chairs that people could sit in and they'd look at like a surgery happening. There is a 50-foot wall, that rises up in this square room that has like what looks like audience seating, and you do see 5 standing in a line. You see this dwarven-looking woman who has kind of like these black cloaks over her. You see someone who looks like he's almost like basically dressed like a ninja with longer hair and like a black mask over his face. You see a Yuan-Ti woman who's like kind of like almost a similar shade of violet like Issa that is like scaled, and she has like long, almost like dread-like hair and yellow eyes. Terrence, you of course see your father standing there, and then at the very edge you'll see someone who looks like a little bit older, sluntier, mommy version of Sham. They just kind of look deadpanned and they're just staring, and it does look like there is this kind of like sheen of arcane something that is blocking you getting there. So really it's the wall goes to the ceiling because there's also an arcane wall, but you can see them sitting atop there. But for the rest of the room, it's just kind of like this open, almost like Colosseum pit, and there are a bunch of pillars that are around that do that for you specifically, Shay, that you can see your shadows, and I think they're all 30 feet away from each other, so there we go. But standing in the direct middle is Orathia, and she's just like kind of standing there waiting for you. Kessak is a little far back behind her, just kind of like floating, probably just staring. When you walk in, she'll be like, okay, you've made it to the middle, so this is where, and she kind of like takes a coin and flips it, and she grabs it, and you just watch as she like kind of like crumbles in her hand, and you watch as the gold dust hits the floor. We see what the flip of the coin is. She eats it like Jackie Kennedy. No, it'll be me versus you all. But I do want you all to know that your choices have had consequences in the game. Let's just go down the line. She'll go down to Sham, and she'll be like, yours has more to do with you choosing to have your father be brought back. So I'm going to do this. And you watch as she like points out her finger, and you watch as it hits Sham, and his vitality seems to weaken. As if he doesn't have as much health. She'll look at Maud and be like, I still don't know anything about you, but I'll enjoy watching you die. And Maud just kind of rolls her eyes. And then she'll look at Wash. She'll be like, Wash, for it comes to the fated fates, I can't say that I don't have a little bit of favor to all of you. I didn't really expect 2 guests. As she like looks over to Maud and Sham, but no matter. I think you all represent tokens on a game board. And I've dubbed you the Blind. Your choice doesn't really matter, but with that, I'll tether you two. As you watch, she casts Warding Bond on you so that you'll take half the damage that Codex does. Each time you take damage, you'll get the same amount. It halves Codex's.
Got it.
But
You'll take the same, yeah. And Codex, you'll have +1 to AC. Then she'll go down the line as she continues. Codex, the wannabe. You made the choice between going back to your normal life and forgetting everything, or understanding that you are far more extraordinary than the normal person you thought you were. So, with that, and you watch as she snaps her fingers, and you just watch as, like, the Hex Leap lightning magic, just, like, almost like Super Saiyan 2 in Dragon Ball. You watch as, like, the pink electric current just keeps going around Codex. So, Codex, with yours, you'll have to make a DC 14 check. Otherwise, you'll Wild Magic Surge at the beginning of your turn.
Cool, I'm good.
Issa, I asked you to choose between whose deaths you would not want to be responsible for out of the choices of your ex-fiancé Guy or your parents. And you couldn't separate it all being responsible for your parents' deaths. So I dubbed thee the dutiful daughter. And since your parents are of the cloth, I don't think you need your bard abilities. And you watch as she snaps, and it's almost like the blue arcane that was like Issa's bard arcane abilities is gone. You will not have access to any of your bard spells. You can use bard abilities like any of your flourishes or your bardic inspiration, but no spells.
Okay.
Terrence, the guilty. I asked you to choose between who would you test the perfect serum on. Either the person you've hid from and probably hurt the most if she would ever discover any of the truth, or the other person you've hurt the most by killing someone she'd love dearly. And you chose Issa to test it on. So, and she'll snap her finger, and you watch as Issa's chin goes up, and you see these serums appear as they get poured into Issa's mouth. Let's see if she explodes or not.
Terry's like huge and he's not holy, but he does the like kind of symbol.
Issa, you will have to make a con save, or you'll gain bloodlust, kind of like what Terry's experiencing. If you fail the save, you will attack whatever is closest to you. Shay, just like myself, I think you also like to play games, so I've dubbed you the player. You had to choose between your 5 compatriots who you would allow to die to save everybody else. Sorry, Wash.
I knew it. I called it.
You watch her flick her finger as Hunter's Mark gets cast on Wash. And Finley, the runaway. You had to choose between who would not need your help, and that was Maud. So any of your skills or abilities will not help her in this fight. All right. With the foreplay out of the way, why not begin? And that's where we end today's session.